On today's episode, we have Sarah Shepard, the COO of StringCan Interactive, joining us for a conversation on how you can improve your brand, improve your business, and improve your team. She's sharing some great insight as far as team building activities and upcoming team retreats. Sarah, thanks so much for joining us for today's episode.
Thanks for having me, Lindsay. It's so good to talk to you again.
Likewise, it's been far too long. So Sarah has been involved in our A to Z BizLink community since the very beginning. She's been one of our members, and her team has been a phenomenal resource to the Phoenix metropolitan business community. So Sarah, before we dive into today's conversation, would you mind just sharing a little bit more about who you are, your role, and what you guys do over at StringCan?
Absolutely. So I'm Sarah Shepard. My name was Sarah Hiller earlier this year, but I got a COVID wedding, so I guess they're called micro weddings now, but it was actually perfect. And so I've been at StringCan for almost 5 years now. I started as a part-time executive assistant for Jay, the CEO, and eventually just started taking on all the stuff he didn't like to do that I love to do. And so now I'm the COO earlier this year. And it's been really exciting. The agency space, so we're a digital marketing agency in Scottsdale. The agency space is just a really exciting space to be in. Even right now, the immediate adaptation that the clients have done, that we've done, the pivoting, even though we're starting to hate that word, is really incredible because you have to be super agile in this industry. And we're just really grateful for our clients, and the team has been awesome.
Before we go any further, do you mind just sharing a little bit more detail around exactly what your team does at StringCan?
Yes, so I've had to learn through multiple conversations and interviews to kind of speak more appropriately to my audience and how digital marketing can be super confusing for a lot of people. So explaining it to my husband, it was really sweet. He goes, okay, can you just like pretend like I've never been on the internet before? So basically what we do is help businesses, particularly ones that are dedicated to improving people's lives, which is kind of a broad but really exciting niche for us. And we help them get found online. So we'll do branding work. Often something seemingly simple like a logo or a website redesign is actually quite a process and involves a lot of strategic work, which we really pride ourselves on. And so working through end-to-end strategic branding, persona development, websites, and of course, paid ads in a variety of platforms to make sure that they're getting found online by the right people and then nurturing those customers that become raving fans for life.
And one project, I mean, I follow your team on social media, but one project that really caught my eye was what you were doing to help the hospitality industry. So would you mind sharing what you guys did there?
Yeah, of course. So that was really something that we missed with COVID. Was we're a bunch of foodies and we have our office in Old Town. And so we just felt like we had to do something for this kind of underserved and really just brutally affected industry. And so with the hospitality industry, we had what we called our restaurant program. And so we put out an application for local restaurants to apply for free marketing support. And so we were able to help a couple of local places just kind of get their strategy back in order. We actually helped one pivot to sort of an online pickup ordering system, which seems like pretty easy for a lot of places to do, but it's actually totally different operationally and through their marketing efforts, just a totally different animal. So it's been really incredible. One of them actually is looking at packages continuing on, which would be awesome to be able to help them continue their business because they're local and fresh. And it was just really nice to help them. Hopefully they can take those tips that we gave them and move into a long-term strategy to help their businesses grow and succeed through this time.
So is there any additional advice that you would offer to business leaders as it relates to, these marketing efforts or building their digital presence that, has popped up or that you've continued to share on a regular basis during the time of COVID?
Yeah, I think often what happens is people put so much effort and work into developing it that they kind of set it and forget it. And so right now it's a really great time. We found some clients who are finding the time to like make a new website that takes up a lot of time, energy, effort, um, that they might not normally have had. So if now's the time where you've been on the precipice of wanting to do a major marketing project or initiative, it's a great time to test it out. You know, there's really no right or wrong way right now. It's just get yourself out there and try something. That's why A/B testing is just part of our industry, because you just don't know what works until you try something. So I think just trying to encourage businesses when they're able, and we understand some can't, continue marketing because it is kind of like the stock market. It's an investment and you'll have ups and downs. But over time, you know, with past recessions, businesses that have continued marketing have actually come out ahead of those that paused all of their efforts.
So, speaking of like social media presence, even your social platforms, I love to follow your team because you guys always post really cool stuff about your team building events. And that's one thing that I think makes StringCan shine in the business community is your culture and your people. So I know you and Jay really prioritize that. And I think that's really awesome and why you guys align so well with our A to Z BizLink business network. But I'm curious, do you have would you mind sharing some of your past team building events and some great ideas that you guys have come up with along the way?
Yeah, I'd love to. And thank you so much for calling that out. It's something we really work hard at and pride ourselves on. So from end to end, one of the most important things is getting everyone sort of involved in the process. So we run on EOS, which is the Entrepreneurial Operating System. And one of our rocks every quarter is someone owns those kinds of events. So every quarter they get a budget, they get to have fun and just kind of figure out what would be exciting. And so then they get to do 3 events every quarter. And so getting everyone to have some sort of buy-in, because the ideas that come out of it are really incredible. So in the past, when we were in person, we would just try stuff we would normally never do. So we've done indoor skydiving, obstacle courses, even escape the room challenges. One of my favorites was I hired a high school art teacher who actually owns a gallery, and she does the paint wine nights. And I hired her to come to our office, and so she set everything up. We picked out this gorgeous painting, and she taught us how to paint this awesome painting. And one of the things about our team is that we're very competitive. Jay. And so it was like whose painting is the best, but they were all so beautiful. So it was one of my favorite events because it was just so fun. We brought our own wine. We had Postino's cater it in. And so it was kind of nice to do something creative that we just generally don't. When you leave work, you're burnt out, you just sit in front of the couch and watch TV. So it was kind of fun to get our creative juices flowing as a team and see what everyone else interpreted. But we really try to do something different every quarter. And then during COVID, one of my favorite activities was a Zoom Pictionary. So one of the things we have in our office that sadly we haven't been able to do is the 8 Things About Me board. And every month I would put up a new 8 things. And I'll tell you, after years of doing this, it started getting challenging to come up with 8 new things every month. But one of the lines was Pictionary. And so I'd pick a theme, like movies or superheroes. And so everyone would do their little drawing in their tiny, I don't know, probably 4 by 6 box. And at the end of the month, we would all guess. And whoever won the most right would get a prize. And so we all really missed that, the competitiveness, seeing everyone's drawings. They got really good over the years. And so we did that via Zoom and created some special rules and had teams. And it was just really super fun. And everyone's family was invited. And so it was just this big game of Pictionary that we did that was really fun.
I know you're all about professional growth and development. So I'm curious, what outlets or resources or books or blogs, what do you often turn to?
So I like to pick and choose from all over the place because, you just hear information differently if it's in a book, you might accidentally skim over some things. And then if it's in a podcast and you're in traffic, you didn't really hear part of it. So I try to do all of those things. At least a podcast a day, whether it's 10, 5, 10, 15, 30 minutes, whatever I can handle with my workload, just to stay current and hear what other people are doing. It's just a really unusual time where things are moving super fast. And so if you feel like you can't keep up, just hearing what everyone else is doing and know that, you're all trying and learning some new ideas. And then books. Our team is pretty big on stuff like that. So I personally read leadership books. I really want to be the best leader that I can be and to help my team learn from my example, and then to be the best teammate that I can be. And then also, of course, there's tons of industry blogs and articles that I read. So I'm just constantly thirsting to stay on top and to be better every single day. That's just part of my nature. And then we make sure that when we bring people into the agency, that they kind of have that same thirst and desire to continue growing and staying on top of this shifting landscape.
Are there any specific ones that you would recommend individuals check out?
Ooh, I think just getting out there, finding a podcast. One of my favorite podcasts actually is very industry specific, and it's by Drew McClellan. We're a member of the Agency Management Institute, and Drew has been an incredible mentor through this, through COVID, really. He's had weekly meetings with the owners. He'd have separate meetings for support personnel like myself. And his blogs are so timely and so appropriate. When you start to feel a certain way, Drew is just really connected to the heart of his people. So his information is super timely. He's just so accessible. He's one of my favorite podcasts. But I think just finding someone in your industry right now, or somewhere where you feel like you're kind of limiting yourself, like maybe you feel like I haven't been the best leader, I just don't know how to go through this crisis. Just get started somewhere, listen to what other people are doing. Talk to you. You're an amazing connector. You always know the right person to connect people with. So you're like the missing puzzle piece. That's my suggestion.
I try. Well, one other thing I was hoping we could touch on was the fact that your team does an annual retreat, and I know you guys cover a lot of really cool stuff during that time. So would you mind just sharing with our audience a little overview or snippet about what you guys do there and the content that you cover?
Yeah, so we did our retreat last year in Sedona. Because our team is manageable, I was able to get us a really nice, big, beautiful house on Oak Creek. And I got there early and I set everything up. And we, of course, had set up sort of the agenda for the next 2 days. So I spent 3 nights there, Thursday through Saturday. And the leadership team came up Thursday morning. And we had pretty much like presentations scheduled for our departments and breaks. And then the next day, the best thing was the vision board presentation. So one of the things we wanted to do with 2020 was to really set the stage. And I'm really glad we did that, because the vision board, more than anything, was one of the, in Brene Brown's terms, a vulnerability building exercise. And so we put on there things, I think everyone shared some tears, things that they really wanted to do, things that were important to them, whether it was their family or the planet or their health, business desires and dreams that were beyond the agency. It was just really fun to get to know people on such a deep level, and to also see where the company was going. So there was a separate vision for that. So, a lot of agencies and businesses in general struggle with getting their team to see where their destination is in the long term. And then probably everyone's favorite thing was a scavenger hunt. I hired this gal I found through Airbnb, and she set up this downtown Sedona scavenger hunt. And so we broke up into teams, and we had to run all over the place and find these historical artifacts and factoids, and it was just really fun. And so it was a great way to end quite an exhausting but rewarding weekend.
Yeah, no, I love hearing the stories from that, and I'm like, gosh, I mean, just sharing 1 or 2 of those ideas, I think, with other business leaders, I think could, inspire them to potentially do something like that in the future. So on that same front, I know we've all been going a million miles per hour, and I feel like everyone I talk to, like in the marketing or the agency world, it's like been busier than ever. So I'm curious for you, how are you keeping the balance between, your personal and your professional life?
Oh man, yeah, that's been interesting. My year has been totally crazy like everyone else's, but at the beginning of the year, precipice of pre-COVID PC, I got married and moved into a new house, and then now my husband and I are both working remote, and we're both loud talkers, so we are constantly evaluating our work-life balance here. But actually, it's been really interesting talking to the team and what they're doing as well. And so it's been fun to create some new challenges. So we're all kind of struggling some of those areas, like when you're working from home, you're not drinking enough water, or you're not moving. So we did a couple of steps challenges to keep things fun. One of them was to spell out StringCan in steps and to do a little tracing of your walk on a map. And so I think we posted that one on Instagram. That was pretty fun. Um, but me personally, I have my full focus planner, which is probably one of my ultimate favorite tools. So just staying focused, knowing that the day is not endless. I've been able to continue with my rituals and routines, and to kind of just focus on 3 of those most important things. And that was a little bit of a struggle in the beginning, but Jay and I immediately had a really long strategic meeting about, hey, what does this look like? Let's be flexible with everything from PTO to kids in your webcam or noise or internet or whatever it is. It doesn't matter. Just be accepting that we're all struggling, and things are going to happen, and eventually we'll peter out and figure it out. But on the business side, we've been super busy. I'm actually looking for 2 new people to add to our awesome team. And so that's been really exciting to think about adding people during actually a great opportunity on both sides, for the employee and for us, of course. So it's good.
I love to connect people. That's one of my personal passions. And so, Sarah, would you mind sharing with our listeners who you're most excited to potentially, get to know or meet within our business community?
Ooh, wow. That's a really big question. Um, I think one of the things I'm passionate about and to, I'm an implementer, like an integrator in our EOS community. And so for me, I struggle a little bit with the vision of developing people into what they want to be and what they want to do. I can definitely help them get there once they know where to get there, but I need just that little bit of extra. How do I meet you from where you want to be and then kind of turn that into something a little more tangible? Because I'm a really great problem solver, but sometimes it's really hard for people to tell me what the problem is. They just don't know how to say exactly what it is that's going on. So that's probably what I'd love to do, because I think long term that would be such an incredible gift, that I could offer myself and others.
Awesome. Well, I'm sure there's someone in our listening audience or business community that would love to help you with that. So it's just a matter of time until we find that right person. So,
Awesome.
Sarah, as we wrap up today's conversation, is there anything else that you'd like to share with our audience?
I think this is just amazing that I have been so blown away at the incredible movement that everyone's done, like you putting everything online. I think, for the most part, people really didn't skip a beat. And it's been kind of incredible and humbling and has brought a lot of empathy to see, my living room, that, people's homes and their animals and children, just kind of recognizing the humanness of each other, especially when we don't get to see each other's faces anymore. So when I smile at someone, they just see me squinting. So I think it's just been, sort of a blessing in disguise.
So, Sarah, for those individuals that want to further connect with you, what's the best way for them to do that?
Ooh. Anyway, really, you can message me on LinkedIn. I'm pretty active on there. I really love that format for spreading the word and learning. So that's a great way. It's Sarah Shepard COO is the my new LinkedIn handle. But you can also email me, Sarah SARAH at StringCanInteractive.com. We have 3 Sarahs, so I guess even if you misspell it, you'll get to one of us.
All good. Well, Sarah, thanks for taking the time to join us on today's episode.
Well, thank you so much for having me, Lindsay.